Good. Good. Okay. So an awesome day today. Weather's beautiful, perfect for everything. Very appreciative of the crowd. Had a nice crowd here today. I just told the players I liked how they competed. We got a lot of work done. Got to do a lot of different things. Quarterbacks got a lot of throws, and defense got to play a lot of man coverage. And so it was a very beneficial day for us in a lot of different ways. For me personally, it's interesting watching some of the young players that hadn't been out in front of a crowd compete in our system, just to watch how they reacted. So overall, it was a great day for us. They've got a couple weeks here of not really anything athletically, all academics to finish up strong in the classroom. Trying to back up that 1,000 APR we got last year. So we're really pushing these guys to finish academically. And then Coach Glass will take them in strength conditioning in June and July. Assistant coaches will all have their meetings with their players on Monday, and then they'll be out on the road for 5 weeks spring recruiting. So the cycle just continues to turn, but we had a good spring. We stayed healthy. I was really pleased with that, and we got a long ways to go in a lot of areas, but we made some strides over the last 5 weeks.
Mike, what did you like most out of the two guys, sort of the half of the quarterback? What did you like out of them today?
Well, I thought they were effective in running our system. It's easier for me to say what I didn't like. I don't like when they're backing up and throwing the ball. That's when they get into trouble. They have to learn the speed of the game. And so Drew had 2 times. One time that he should have thrown a pick when he was backing up, and then down the goal line he did it. And Spencer did the same thing. So they still have a little bit of I'm going to make something out of nothing all the time. They've got to get out of that system. They got to play within our system. Particularly Drew in the 2-minute drill at the end, it was first down. Got the ball on the 3-yard line. So defense made a good call. Defense makes calls, offense makes calls. Sometimes defense makes the better call. They made the better call there. Just throw the ball away. We got second down. Got plenty of time. So other than that, I thought they competed, really played well. Thought their throws were pretty effective and accurate for the most part.
Was what we saw today similar to what you've seen out of them in practice throughout the spring?
Very similar, yeah. Now, we had a big scrimmage a week ago, and I was pleased because we didn't have any turnovers. We had a turnover today. So those are things that we have to eliminate. Last year we got hurt at times turning the ball over, and we were penalized. And so we've worked hard, and hopefully we're better in those areas. We'll continue to work in August.
Some of your better teams might played with a real edge, like Grant Pettigrew and those guys in 08, and then Bladnick, Machete, and those guys on the championship team. Do you think this team is that a priority for you to have these guys play with more of an edge?
We need
not dirty, but nasty.
Yeah, we need to compete. A lot of that has to do with players up front. Sometimes skilled players can get you into that fashion, but more so the guys up front. So hopefully with Coach Dickey that it'll start up there. Same thing with Greg and Joe Bob defensively. We should be able to get some help from our corners. They're mature players. They're pretty dang good. They've been around now, so we should be able to get some of that from those guys.
You said the other day, you want them to be more angry when things don't go well. Do you think this collection of guys can be more along those lines?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know what? I want them to compete, and what that means is that their preparation to get to that point and then play with a little bit of an edge in the games and play that way consistently. Even when they make a mistake or something doesn't go good, they have to continue to play that way. So we'll know a lot more as the season goes on. It's really hard to tell in a situation like this, but that's the direction we're going, and that's where we hope we get to.
CJ Moore looked like he had a pretty good day today. Is that pretty indicative of how he's been so far this spring?
He's had a good spring. He's didn't do much last year. I said this a month ago. CJ's changed completely. I think he's gained 30 pounds, so his body's changed. He's learning to handle it and body control and all the things that the guys that play wide out here have to do in order to be successful. And so he's growing into his body and learning. He's going to need another year to where you can just say, we're going to leave you in there for 55, 60 plays a game and play at a high level. I don't know that he'll be ready for that, but he should be able to give us a number of plays early in the year, and we'll see how he develops in live situations.
Mike, what did you like and not like about your defense today?
I thought we were very competitive. We were stingy with throws, other than the 4th down throw where we turned the back loose in coverage. I thought most of our pass routes were challenged. I thought I saw 2 pass interference calls. Would like to minimize those, as we talked about a week ago. Now, the style of defense we play, we will get some penalties because we're aggressive when we're in your face. But for the most part, I was pleased with where we were at. Thought we did a good job of defending the run on the perimeter. And we have a lot of work in that area, but I think we're a little more mature and get a little bit better.
What went into the decision to move L.C. Greenwood, the linebacker?
He came in and wanted to make the move. He felt like that maybe he had hit a dead end at the wideout spot, so he wanted to make a move to that side of the ball. He played both ways in high school.
How do you feel he's made that transition?
It's way too early to tell. He's just trying to get lined up right now, so should know a lot more 3 weeks into August. He's just trying to figure it out.
What'd you like or dislike about Chuba's performance this spring?
Well, overall, he had a really good spring. I don't know that I kept up with how many carries he had today, but Chu's in good shape. He's in good position right now to have a good year.
Did you see any maturity from him being that number 1 threat at run back?
Yeah, he's maturing now. I mean, I saw him start to mature and take things over in the bowl game. So he needs to be a leader. I think he will. And it's easy to lead if you're a good player and you have skill. Players will tend to follow you. And I think his attitude will be really good. He was very quiet last year, and he's somewhat coming out of his shell.
How's your defensive line shaped up during the spring? How do you feel about that?
How they what?
How's the defensive line shaped up?
They're doing good. They're young. They're immature. They don't have any experience. So that'll be a work in progress. Every year you have positions that you hope they get better each week, and then when you get into conference play, that they're playing at a level of 75 to 80%. But are they going to be at a point where they played as effective as our guys did last year? No, they're too young, they're too immature. But they should continue to get better, and hopefully they'll play better earlier than what we think.
Going for such a veteran group at that D-line, who do you see being kind of the leader of this group coming in right now this spring?
Well, we don't really have, veteran players or guys that have a lot of experience in games, and we don't really have many guys that have that experience. So they're all young from that standpoint. They've worked hard in here in the weight room. They've developed their bodies, but I'm hoping the numbers that we have will allow them to have enough stamina to play hard, to make up for what a Darian Daniels did or a Brailford, Cole, Walter Sheed. Those guys were good, solid players, and hopefully the numbers that we have here will allow us to get back into that sometime in September, late September, October.
I know it's just spring, but would you be willing to play 2 quarterbacks this next season, or is it just way too early to tell?
We could. If somebody wins the job, then we'll certainly say you're the quarterback. If not, if both of them earn the right to play, then we could very well play both.
What was it like having all the old guys back, or alums, I should say, back?
It's good. The only thing that's different now is we don't get a chance to spend time with them because we're recruiting. So they came back yesterday morning, and they had their golf outing, their luncheons. They spend time together at nights, and so we're all recruiting, so we can get to be with them. But it's good that they're here. That group continues to grow, which is exciting for us. Prior to us starting this 6-8 years ago, we didn't have one. Oklahoma State football didn't have an alumni group. So we've gone from there to where we are now. Rod Johnson has taken charge, and he orchestrates and does a great job with it, and the players like coming back.
Mike, to sort of piggyback on Dylan's question about quarterbacks, even though you had a quarterback competition a year ago, it wasn't like this, and then you had both guys together in the spring. How do you sort of see the management of this playing out, especially as they go into the offseason where obviously quarterback leadership is kind of
No different than what it's been up to this point. Last year, I said from day one that Taylor was going to be our quarterback. He just had too much experience and understood our offense, and obviously he's a pretty good player. But this year, you got 2 guys that don't have any experience at all, and their reps have been equal. There's been days that Spencer's played better. There's been days that Drew's played better. And again, they need to learn to orchestrate, distribute the ball in our offense first, and then get into making plays on their own, which is what we talked about earlier. They need to work the other direction. They understand that. Game moves fast out there. It's very a lot easier said than done. So we'll let the thing run through the summer and into August, and as soon as we feel like that we know that the guy that gives our team the best chance for success, and then we'll say you're the quarterback and move on.
for you making that decision. I mean, you mentioned turnovers, can't turn it over. Is that sort of when you think about those things that are of your highest priority in making that decision? Is that one of the top ones? What's sort of the rundown for you?
Yeah, I mean, we all know that scores on offense and defense and turnovers decide a lot of football games. And so, first thing we have to do is minimize our mistakes and not beat ourselves. And there was times last year we beat ourselves. We have to get out of that. And it starts with those guys because they touch the ball on every single play. So they need to play in the system and understand how to distribute the ball. Then the guys that the running backs or receivers or Cowboy backs that get it, they have to do their job with the football. But the quarterback has to make that decision. Once he gets all that conquered, then he can go and start making plays. And so that's what we're looking for this time.
Mike, anything you can tell about your offensive line today, good or bad?
I think we're considerably further ahead than we were at the end of the year last year. I mean, I thought our pass protection day was awesome. And just watching it, I've noticed it over the last 2 weeks. But the second group, I don't think there's anybody on the second group that's ever played college football. And they're protecting fairly well against a defense that's somewhat aggressive. So I was pleased with our offensive line. It's tough to tell when you're in a thud mode running the ball because you can't tell if they stop him for a 2-yard gain or an 8-yard gain. But for the most part, if I was evaluating them in protection, I thought it was excellent today.
With those two quarterbacks, how helpful is it to have a guy like John who have a safety net that he can reach up and grab a ball across the middle for him?
Well, Johnny should develop into being a really nice player for us this year. He's one of the guys we talked about last year, and if you remember, I said he's probably a year away from starting to show up consistently, and he's now starting to show up. He's really changed his body in here, and he's learning to play the game. He was a quarterback forever, so he's making that adjustment. He's become a better blocker up front, and we like the Cowboy back position and what it brings to the table. And it is a good card for the quarterbacks to play because they're close to him, and he's got a big body, and he's got long arms.
This format of a spring practice instead of a spring game, can you see yourself doing this again, or is it kind of team by team basis?
Well, I would love to be able to play a game, but I want to be able to benefit the fans, and then also our team, and can even sacrifice the team for the fans. But if we would have split up the offensive line and defensive lines, we would have had to have been so vanilla in the game that it wouldn't have been fun. It wouldn't have been fun for the fans to watch. And so then we wouldn't have got anything out of it, and then the crowd wouldn't have got anything out of it by doing it the way that we had it orchestrated today. But we have a lot of linemen, offensive linemen, that'll be back next year. And so we could very easily split them next year. And same with the defense. So it's more so up front than it is in the back ends. I mean, wideouts, we can tell them what to do. DBs and stuff, play man, you got that guy. It's not that easy, but for the most part. Up front, guys moving around, twists, stunts, protections, different blocking schemes, pulls. It's not quite as easy. So I would like to think at this time next year we'll be able to have a game.
Mike, the outside receiver position, that Tyron left, where do you feel like that spot is right now?
Well, we he surprised us. We'd certainly like to have him back out there, but we're immature there. We don't have anybody that's ever played a game there. So some maturity there would help. Whether we have to move Stoner outside at certain times, that's been a discussion. We'll just wait and see what happens, but when we get into the middle of August, we have to make a decision and go with it. The good news with Stoner is he can play every position. So if we needed to make a move, we certainly could.
How is McCaughlin in his just confidence in his knee at this point?
I hate when people put percentages on things, but he looks like to me he's about 70%. Because he'll take off and run and kind of forget about it, and then he remembers it, and then he doesn't run as hard. So I would guess that he'll get a lot better by July in just the wear and tear. Plus, he's still wearing that brace right now, so it's hard to forget about it. So I think that he'll get better.
Do you guys have sort of a standard on when that brace comes off? Is it an amount of time? Is it a...
They do it on a machine. They test for strength and all. That's way over my head. But once it gets to a point where they're satisfied that the strength going this direction and that direction is good, then they can take it off.
Is there any timetable on when Trayson might be able to play again?
He's got another procedure coming up, and then they'll make that determination.
Good. Mason Rudolph said on the big board today that he was here to get you a haircut. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he's always got something going on. He came back in town to see all of his friends, I'm sure, but he does look good. He's got it looks good. He's slim. He's muscular. It's good to have him back. You know, Aikman was here with him, and Lacey and James, I guess. So, but it's good to have those guys back. Mason is a true Cowboy and loyal. You know, he loves his place. And I had a recruiting meeting going on today in my office a couple hours before the game, and a family in there of about 6, and they came banging through the door and kind of took it over. At first, I thought it might be a negative, then I realized it was a positive. So, he's a good guy, and he's going down as if not the best, one of the best to ever play here. Good.